He's the son of a famous Orange County housewife. But a life of chronic drug abuse is Josh Waring's off-screen, harsh reality.
Once he started using heroin, he lost his life.
Now he's facing a lifetime in prison for 3 counts of attempted murder.
We have a second witness that witnessed the shooting and names Waring as the suspect.
But Lauri Peterson, who pulls no punches when it comes to the bitter truth about her son's problems, insists this time it's a setup.
Josh had a target on his back.
Or did he?
He wants to use his 15 minutes of fame to avoid spending even 15 minutes in prison.
Lauri Peterson admits the lure of being an original cast member of the reality hit Real Housewives of Orange County
Hey, guys.
came at the most opportune time.
Tell me a little bit about what that was like for you and you know, how life-changing I suppose that's been.
Oh, boy. I was just going through a lot of transitions in my life at that time. I was just coming out of a divorce and looked at a situation where I needed a career.
With 3 kids in tow, Lauri was about to ride the shooting star of fame.
My kids did sign up, and they were all eager and very excited about it.
As the family now finds itself under the glare of the public microscope, Josh's problems become fodder for TV drama.
During the process of filming, Josh had a lot of situations that came up, and he himself was going through a lot of transition, I think as the result of a divorce.
I had so much anger over it.
Josh seeks relief from that anger in drug use, heavy drugs.
How bad did it get?
His entire life was about waking up and finding a drug and then using the drug.
Any parent who knows the crushing heartbreak of a drug-addicted child also knows what comes next.
Do you recall how many times he's been in jail or arrested?
Yeah, I wouldn't have a clue how many times.
But law enforcement will tell you there have been at least 30 cases at one time or another in the court record books.
Mr. Waring has had his run-ins with law enforcement. He's been in and out of jail, and he's somebody that law enforcement knew because he was causing a lot of trouble.
Lauri still loved her son, but understandably was at her wit's end.
Here you have a young person, very troubled, in a lot of trouble with the law as well. Is this someone who has had resources and support?
I think his mother and father supported him, but as time went by, they said, Josh, you're on your own now, you're making your own decisions, and we can't keep pouring money in for lawyers and rehab, and they finally cut him off.
Lauri decided to employ a new tactic, tough love. She would provide emotional support for her troubled son, but no more money. Then she made another life-altering decision.
Why did you decide to leave the show?
I would say that leaving the show is 100% to focus on my family. And Josh being the one that needed the most help at that time.
But fate would not appreciate Lauri's determination to save her son from the perils of abuse. Waring's legal woes would spiral down at breakneck speed. It happened on a June morning in the early hours before daybreak.
So what happened that day?
Josh got a call from a female friend, and Josh was holding her belongings for her, a cell phone, and she really wanted that cell phone.
The woman was staying in a former sober living home turned flop house.
It slowly turned into a drug crash pad.
These people are all indigent. They're all addicts.
Many of the residents did not welcome Josh Waring for reasons we stated earlier.
The reason why they did not want him around is because he's accused of pulling a gun on one of the former residents.
Police say Waring was fully aware that he was persona non grata at the house, but he wanted to help his friend.
He was simply delivering a cell phone.
Police say Waring borrowed a car, this white BMW. An acquaintance, fellow jailhouse regular Brian Goldstein, tagged along in the passenger seat. When they arrived, the 2 men were greeted with ire.
When he got to the house, a bunch of people from the house came and swarmed his car, pounded on the car, threw stuff out.
Waring was ordered to leave. Then his mother says the wrath of one resident was turned on the woman who invited Waring there in the first place.
He took the girl's belongings and threw them in the street. So the cell phone, her purse, everything was in the street, but Josh decided, I'm out of here. He left.
But it was hardly the end of a contentious situation. About an hour later, both men, Josh Waring and Brian Goldstein, returned to the drug house, but this time in separate cars, and all hell breaks loose.
911. Hi, I need police to respond. I have, there was just a shooting at my house.
Victims tell responding police that repeated gunshots had been fired from one of the cars at residents outside the home. This man, Danny Lopez, came out to see what all the commotion was about and got shot in the groin. He was bleeding profusely when cops arrived.
Did you see anything?
Oh, God, dude. I heard that.
Daniel, hey, need you to stay focused, man.
Two other residents ran for cover. One told police just before the gunshots the two cars were moving erratically, the drivers doing donuts in front of the house. Then came the gunfire. But from which car? Coming up, cops insist Josh Waring is the trigger man and charge him with 3 counts of attempted murder.
All of the evidence points to Mr. Waring.
But Josh insists he's taking the rap for the other driver at the scene of the crime. Is notorious bad boy Brian Goldstein really a law enforcement golden boy getting special treatment?
He snitches. You know, he has no problem, no qualms with being a snitch. In fact, he seems to enjoy it.
The most powerful evidence in this case would be the eyewitness testimony of the people who were at the scene who knew Mr. Waring.